Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Two of Wands, and we also have Five of Pentacles. Okay. Having Two of Wands and having Five of Pentacles, it feels like there's something that you want to do. There can be a plan that you want to make. There can be steps that you want to take. But having Five of Pentacles can be this feeling of, is that possible? Like, is the environment going to support it? What if what I'm trying to do here, I'm not able to for some reason? And I'm seeing this sort of looking towards the Two of Cups. So I get this sense of wanting to bring something together. This can even be something that you want to be closer to or closer with, or something that you feel like you need to do for yourself, and you can feel like this going in this direction, it would be following your heart. However, you can be looking at this situation and feeling like, I don't know if that's going to be possible. What this can mean too is that a plan needs to be thought about and things need to be figured out as far as what you're doing. It can be decisions that need to be made. You can even feel like you're at a bit of a crossroads, and yeah, there's stuff that needs to be done, but you can also feel too like you're doing this a bit on your own. Because I get this Five of Pentacles as looking at the Two of Cups, feeling almost like there's a part of me that I need to be utilizing my energy for this thing in this way, but there's another part of me that feels distracted by something going on emotionally, and I feel like my energy is being called in that direction. See how this Two of Wands is facing this way, which feels like it has to do with like plans and you figuring stuff out. But then there's this part of you over here that may like want to move forward. I wonder too if there's something that you're doing over here where you may be like neglecting something emotionally. Or you could just be trying to figure something out and feel like this is something that you feel focused on and want to move towards. And maybe that's not in the agenda. You know, it's like we're going to go here, here, and here today, and that's great, but there's like one thing that feels more important to you, and that's not even on the list of things that you want to be doing. Like that, like maybe a bunch of tasks that need to be getting done, and what you wanted most of all today was to have an intimate conversation with somebody that you care about. Just an example. And that can be something that you want, you know, going with the example of having an intimate conversation with somebody. Having this Five of Pentacles, you can know that that's what you're wanting and that's what you're craving, because Five of Pentacles can be that feeling of I'm alone, or I'm isolated, or I'm looking for a sense of connection, or there's this thing that I want and I feel like I don't know if that's possible given the circumstance that I'm in. And then Two of Cups feels like that thing that's calling you towards it, but you don't know if that's going to be a possibility. And you can really be questioning that too. Five of Pentacles can be feeling limited for some reason. Like the environment is not supporting something that you want to do, supportive of something that you want to do. And you can also really be like taking on that mindset too of, I want this thing so desperately, or I want to move in this direction so desperately, and I don't know how that would even be possible. Having Knight of Wands and having Four of Cups come out can indicate that when it comes to this thing that you want to do, regardless of your circumstance, you have something that you want to do, you have a way that you want to utilize your energy. Having Knight of Wands below it means that in order for you to do this, you'd have to just push ahead. You may have to be brave in some way, or confident within yourself, or very focused on what you want to be doing here. But Four of Cups can be this, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to put myself out there, or I don't want to take that risk, even though you want to. There's also maybe this other part of you that feels like, well, because I'm convincing myself that it's not possible or that it won't work out for me, then I don't even want to take the shot and see if that works or not. So I feel like this is more of a trying to work with yourself emotionally, and maybe also the part of you that maybe likes to err on the side of caution rather than moving in the direction of what you want. Maybe because you're like, I don't want to embarrass myself, or I feel like this is hopeless anyway, so why would I even take a chance or take the risk to try to do it? But it feels like the circumstance, it requires that of you. If this is something that you want badly enough, are you going to do it? What this also means too is that you may need to be disciplined here and actually check in with yourself about, regardless of what may be more difficult, what is the thing that you want most here? Because for some of you too, there can be something that you're doing in a way that may be a quicker fix for you, but it may not really be moving you in the direction of what you actually want. And then you can be telling yourself, well, what I want isn't possible anyway, so I might as well just keep doing this thing that I feel like it's taking you backwards, if anything, rather than forward. And for some of you too, like, you don't want to risk rejection. This feels like running that way rather than running that way, just in case something doesn't end up working out, because Five of Pentacles is above that, and Five of Pentacles is this feeling of, I don't know how that would possibly work out for me anyway, and so, like, I don't even want to bother. I don't even want to try. This feels really pessimistic. I'm seeing Virgo here. I wonder too if you're like thinking this to death, or feel like it has to be absolutely perfect and flawless in order for things to fall into place, and you're like not really leaving any room for the possibility of what could happen, especially if you put your effort and your energy into something that you want to show up for. What I find interesting too is that Two of Wands is facing the past, and Knight of Wands is facing the past, and this feels like a plan that feels almost redundant, or something that is cyclical, or something that you keep moving in the direction backwards. Like, you may want to move forward with something, but you keep making choices, maybe even like spontaneously, like not really thinking about something and the longevity of it, or what putting dedication into this can really do for you. And so having Two of Wands and having Knight of Wands, if it was facing into like your present and your future, it feels like it would be a plan for you to go out there and get something done and just like see what happens. Like, I'm gonna take the risk. This is something that I want to do. It means that to me, so I might as well. But because they're both facing the past, I feel like this is a plan that maybe something that you've continuously done that can feel like, well, I can do this right now, even though it kind of pulls you backwards or keeps you in the same cycle. Because if you were to face presently and look in the direction of where you want to go, it looks like there's fear involved, and also like maybe you don't want to be vulnerable here. That's what I'm feeling sort of with the Five of Pentacles. It feels like, well, if I go backwards, at least I know what that is. If I try to move forward with this, I don't even know if that's possible for me. I don't even know if this would work out. And then what if I go and I make that effort, or what if I ask for help and then I'm denied, you know? Or what if I say, like, I'm desperate for this thing, or this is something that I want really badly, and then I'm rejected. It feels like that is what would be keeping you back. That's what would be holding you back. And you can feel exhausted with yourself at this point. Like, I keep thinking like this, and I'm trying my best to be as logical as possible or really think this through, but it feels like there's there's not a sense of hope or like belief in you and what you're doing and the magic behind that. This feels like no matter what I do, the likelihood of that working out isn't very high, and so like why bother anyway? Even though I feel like it's reason enough if you want something or feel called in that direction to move towards it and see what can happen. But this feels like cutting yourself off and telling yourself like it's not going to work anyway, so might as well not try. But then it's like it's the same thing that you keep experiencing. It's not something new. You keep repeating the same cycle again and again. It's like you just get what you've always had. You get what you've always gotten. And I don't think that you're happy with that, because having Five of Pentacles shows like you don't actually, like you want something to change. You don't want to be in this position, and it feels like this is the way that you would move forward. But then having this thing come back again of like it won't work for me anyway, or I don't see how that could be possible, and then you don't make the move forward and you just keep going around and around and around and around. I wonder too if you feel like you want something to happen quickly, and if it doesn't happen quickly, you can be telling yourself it's not worth the effort then. And that can also be part of what discourages you too. Like if something doesn't happen immediately, like I'd rather just do something where I see things happen immediately, and then there's no like building sort of that's happening, or like the relationship doesn't become developed, or like the exchange never like has a chance really to self-harmonize. Let's see what's motivating the Five of Pentacles. Why would you feel like that? Like why would that be your go-to here? I mean, the conflict that you'd be feeling is meant to be worked out. Okay. So this is something emotionally. It's like an emotional transformation that you're going through, but if you're fighting the part of you that wants to do something differently to get a different result, you just keep getting the same thing. Essentially. Maybe you haven't fully realized though. And maybe that's also too why Hermit is here. Because I'm seeing Hanged Man, and what that can mean is that there's this like sort of world that you've created for yourself that keeps you from getting hurt, but it also like keeps you from what you want as well. And you may not have realized that. You can be convincing yourself like this is the rational way, or this is the thing that makes the most sense to me logically, but then you're cutting yourself off from the possibility of what really can be. I feel like you're cutting yourself off from your solar plexus, which is basically your power. This makes no sense to me at all. Energetically speaking, if you want to be going this way towards Ten of Cups, you want to go this way towards Ten of Cups, you have to turn something around and move it forward. But it feels like continuing to go back in that direction at all, continuing to go back in this direction. But what this is feeling like, to have Knight of Wands, it can be like you have to be more organized, or you need to think about something more, because I wonder too, it feels significant that Knight of Wands is here, and what that can mean is that you have to actually plan something out, and you have to think about the impact of something that's more than just in that immediate instant gratification moment. And there may be a part of you that you don't want to, you're like fighting the part of you that's like, we have to be disciplined in order to do this. But I'm getting that where this is coming from is a belief system thing, that if you actually are disciplined and you put your energy into something that is not solely immediate, that it's not going to work out for you. Like the possibility of this just couldn't possibly work for you, because nothing works for you. it does feel extreme in that way, and maybe specifically in this situation. But what has to happen is that you have to channel your energy forward. And I do feel like having Two of Wands above Knight of Wands feels like if you keep making choices that are about just like immediately what's happening in a moment and not thinking beyond that, it keeps doing the same thing for you over and over again. And why would you not have realized that? And maybe you have. Like, what's the bigger thing that's going on that would keep you from changing direction? And it's this feeling that something isn't going to work out for you, that if you try to do it, it won't be successful, that it's just not a possibility for you, that you'll be rejected, or that your efforts are not going to be effective. And that's basically what's happening. So it's specifically related to your belief system. It's not that the environment won't support what you're trying to do, because having Two of Cups and Ten of Cups, it feels like something that you want is there, but you have to face it in order to, have that relationship. And ultimately think about like what's most important to you and where do you want to be. And I wonder too if this is something between what immediately makes me feel like happy or excited in this moment, or does something gratifying for me in this moment, versus what's going to feel more like long-term satisfying to me. Because I even feel like maybe there's something that you're chasing, and it's been very cyclical and sort of like around and around and around, but you feel like something's still missing, or you don't have something that you want, something that you're craving. And this does look more emotional than anything. Emotional, spiritual, energetic. And it feels like what's going to be happening with these two energies. Like, which way are you gonna go with that? Having Knight of Wands over here and having Hermit can be about taking time to reflect on your behavior, what you may do more impulsively or more quickly, or more so just thinking about what's happening in this moment right now, but not how that's going to impact you later, and how that keeps taking you backwards, or even how that just keeps you in the same spot and away from, not facing towards what you want on a deeper level. And making a plan to step down the path, or to walk upon the path that you really crave to be upon. Because I am seeing something that's very possible for you here, where it's like you can feel happy with things, you can feel good about things, you can feel present within your life in a way that you actually want to be there to experience that. And I think ultimately what you're denying yourself of is the intimacy that comes with vulnerability, that comes with taking a chance on yourself, that it feels like you keep denying yourself time and time again. And it feels like it's keeping you apart from yourself. But it may be something where this is a way that you do things where it's guarded, you're keeping a wall up, but you may not have realized that sort of until this point, that that's what's been happening, because of feeling like, what if I let my guard down and I go that way, and then like what if I'm not supported, or what if things don't work out, or what if I lose that thing that I care about, and like continuously keeping you from connecting with that. And I do feel like this is your heart coming through, your intuition coming through and saying, hey, we're supposed to keep moving with this. Do you want to keep going around and around and around? You're not going anywhere, and the situation isn't changing. It's the same thing again and again. And I feel like there's a part of you that's starting to feel very neglected at this point, because of certain impulsive choices that continuously are made. And you can be, the Knight of Wands can be the part of you that's convincing yourself, if I just do it in this moment, I'm going to feel satisfied and it's going to feel fine. And it can be good for you in that moment. But then the more bigger picture part of what you need emotionally, energetically, with like intimacy and a sense of connection, that part of you is feeling very neglected. And so even though Knight of Wands is like, this is fine, and you're doing something that's not sustainable, and it can also feel like it really lacks the type of substance that you're looking to connect with, and that you need to be like fed and nurtured through your relationship with those things. I do feel like this is shying away from intimacy, and I feel too like this is ultimately shying away from yourself and the part of you that needs to be nurtured through connection and allowing yourself to be seen, and vulnerability being part of that. So it's just about redirecting how you're channeling this energy. And I do get the sense too that if you decide to take a look at it, take a look at your behavior and the patterns of your behavior, what you'll see is that it looks like there's a choice that is continuously being made in an impulsive way, which can be like your intuition starting to come online and saying, don't do it. And you're like, be quiet, I want to do this thing. And then in that moment, it can feel like that, like a little bit of a band-aid that's being slapped on, and you telling yourself, in this moment I feel that thing that I've been looking for, and then it goes away very quickly, and you're left feeling like it dug you even further into that hole away from your 10 of Cups. And there is a part of you that's like, I don't want to keep doing this. I feel the 5 of Pentacles almost being this feeling of desperation, of like, I don't like this anymore. I don't want to be in this circumstance. I want something to change. I don't want to be doing this anymore. But then because of not feeling good about where you are, doing that impulsive thing again, and then taking you away. And it feels like if you like got into this little thing like up top here and it spit you out at the bottom, you can either move forward or you can move backwards. And when you get down to the bottom there, like, you have to make that different choice to, this feels like the crossroads, you have to make that different choice to move forward, even though, and this can be I need to put off my need to immediately be comfortable, maybe be uncomfortable for a little bit, or low energy for a little bit, or not really motivated to do this the way that I would need to get where I want to go for a little bit in order to move forward and actually secure this deeper thing that I want, versus I'm feeling uncomfortable and immediately the way that I'm going to make this go away is to do something that brings me all the way back here, and then I'm here again. And it's like the same thing that keeps happening again. But if you are able to, I'm not feeling great right now, I'm not feeling comfortable with this right now, but I know that I can move this way if I can just put off this, I need to immediately feel comfortable or okay, or whatever it is that you're doing by going backwards up into this thing again, it's going to allow you to move forward. And you will really find what you're looking for. 2 of Cups and 10 of Cups. That's something that you will connect with, that feels like it will be able to produce that bigger thing that you are looking for, that you'll be able to connect with long term. It's not going to just be this immediate thing. Here today, gone tomorrow. This is something that will be rooted. And that's ultimately the choice that you can make here. But yeah, this can be dealing with that part of you that if you have to be uncomfortable for a moment, you may immediately want to like get rid of that feeling, like I'm not okay with being uncomfortable, or I'm not okay with this feeling that I need to sit within in order to move forward while other stuff is moving around and I'm doing other things. It can be this feeling of being very, very resistant to that, and like immediately just wanting to do something that's going to soothe it, but it keeps taking you backwards. And recognizing the pattern ultimately, that this is the choice that keeps being made, and that's why you're in this position. And I'm seeing something that you're like, you don't have to be in this position anymore, but this is a choice that's actively being made. Even though you obviously so desperately want something else. And that it is possible for you. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.